I'm here with John Woodruffe in the Mojo Life TV studio. Welcome, John.
Well, welcome to you.
Now, would you like to tell the viewers what it is that you do?
Yeah, in a nutshell, I'm a business consultant. Aiming at two areas of businesses. One would be towards continuous improvement and making improvements in processes and productivity. And the other one is looking at the business planning strategy side, and helping business leaders, managing directors, CEOs actually put some long-term planning in place on businesses, and then moving into coaching and mentoring.
Now, your background in this is quite unusual. You come from the coalface, shall we say?
Yes, yeah. I served well, it was a modern apprenticeship in 1980s. So I'm a type surf turner by trade.
What does a turner do?
Turner works on a lathe. So it was get your hands dirty, wear a pair of overalls, and go home smelling of oil. It was it was a very enjoyable actually. I loved it, and it's probably something that a lot of people. What you find is they move from the shop floor and they move into management, and then a lot of people finish up buying like a wood lathe and actually continue to turn. Yeah, because it is very therapeutic. It is, yeah.
So in the years that followed, you worked in many different capacities within various organisations. So tell us briefly about the breadth of experience that you gained.
Yeah, I was very fortunate because I've had a few roles, and ranging from production manager and subcontractor, moving through into running purchasing, even through to materials management, looking after factories, production director, operations director. So got a good understanding of all levels of business. And when I finished up running running a company as a managing director for 2 years, that actually just gelled everything together, and that was possibly a bit of a moment in my life when I realised actually I've got the skills now to actually go out and start helping other businesses to make improvements and actually move forward rather than just staying exactly where they are and actually going backwards.
Now, you told me something really interesting. You said that a typical managing director might have 20 years experience, but they've got 20 years experience doing the same thing.
Yes.
And your experience, your 20 years, shall we say, is a different type of experience. Explain what you mean by that.
What I found is that as a consultant and going into different businesses, you get to talk to a lot of managing directors and the CEOs, and what they've actually done is over a 20-year period, they've experienced the same year every year. So they've got 1 year's experience and they've just repeated it 20 times. What I've found is that it's these kinds of managing directors who are really struggling to get an understanding on what they need to do for their business to move, because they've probably developed their business in times where it's been quite profitable as a business. They've come in, they've had some good staff, they've had some good products, and literally they've been in a position where they've managed to come into work, everything's running smoothly, go and have a day on the golf course. What I'm finding now is that a lot of these managing directors and CEOs are actually really struggling to get an understanding on what needs to happen within their business.
Because they've not developed this ability to be adaptable or to draw on, parallel experiences.
Exactly. So what I like to do is, if I go into companies, I like to get the MD and put them in my helicopter and hover above their business.
Literally or metaphorically?
Metaphorically. and actually get a good vision of their business. So I'd actually spend a good day with most companies, and over that day then sit down, coin the phrase, be prepared for me to call you baby ugly, and literally give them warts and all. I mean, some people like it, some people don't, but the majority of people actually see there's a lot of truth in there. I don't really like listening to it, but actually I recognise now that I need to do something different.
Now, you're also saying that a lot of the work that you do involves getting the workforce involved, the people at the coalface, as opposed to the management who may feel they know what's best. So just explain the dilemma that exists, or why people get into this position of the managers feeling they know best?
Yes. I think unfortunately, your management, your senior management, junior managers, they're put into a position and they feel as though they are expected to know exactly what needs to be done within their department. Unfortunately, sometimes they don't know what's best for that department, but they don't want to admit that they don't know what needs to be done.
Because it really shows weakness.
It shows weakness, exactly. And unfortunately, the people who do know what needs to be done, because the people at the coalface, as we said, the people who've done the jobs for this last 10, 15, 20, 30 years, they understand exactly what needs to be done to change, to improve. But unfortunately, they're never asked. And because they're never asked, nothing ever changes.
And they're not going to volunteer to say it for fear of having their head bitten off.
Yeah, that's right. So you get into a situation where it turns into Groundhog Day. So you've got the employees who are walking into work, they get to the gatehouse and they take the top of the head off, take the brain out, open the rib cage, take the heart out, and they're not whole. They are going in and just
like a robot,
yes. And they're just doing their own job as they have done forever. And what I like to do is I like to get an understanding, an appreciation of the senior team, the managing director, all of the directors. Well, actually, there's nothing wrong with talking to your employees,
yes.
because it's your employees who are going to help develop your business. And the moment you can sit down with those employees and explain to them that all of a sudden they're going to have some empowerment and they're going to be able to make decisions and they're going to be able to make some changes, all of a sudden the heart stays in. And they start using the brain and the mind.
They're going to work whole.
And they're going to work whole, exactly. And they start, then the Groundhog Day deceases. Yeah, they start to make the changes and make improvements within their own processes. And the feeling for the individuals is phenomenal. And what I found is in most companies, the turnover of staff reduces, the amount of sickness reduces, because it's a way of motivating your staff.
Now you have a connection with Dawn Gibbons, who we're also going to interview.
Yes.
For Mojo Live TV.
Yeah.
Tell us about the link between the two of you.
Well, it started about 2004, and I was a business consultant working for quite a big consultancy group in Manchester. And I went in to do a free day of support within Floorcrete, and sat down with Dawn. And
this is Dawn's company?
This is yes. Dawn's company, Floorcrete. Went in and had a general discussion, spent a full day there, sat down at the end of the day and explained, Dawn, be prepared for me to call you baby ugly, and gave her warts and all. I don't think it was a nice experience for Dawn, but unfortunately I was only there for a day. I'd been asked to go in to have a look at the business and to make some observations on the way that the business.
What sort of figures was the business doing at the time?
I think the business was turning over about 20 million, lost about $500,000. I think it was a little bit more than $500,000. Yeah. But unfortunately, the business had grown and it just fragmented over a good 15, 20 years, yes. And it just fragmented. And what I talked to Dawn about was the fact that she wasn't actually helping things with having the business so fragmented. And we talked about reorganising the business, about defragmenting the business, implementing some lean tools and techniques, which is one of my specialisms, and looking at world-class manufacture and business excellence.
Yes. Yes.
And I think every credit to Dawn, because she actually embraced that, and she's actually she drove that through their business.
Yes.
And I think over the next 5 years it increased to 50 million turnover, and I think made about 5 million profit.
So the turnover was or the change was tangible that
yes.
you made within the business and that Dawn made within the business, but not without heartache along the way. Yeah,
it was hard work, and it was hard work for a lot of the staff. Because you're changing cultures. It's the culture of the organisation that needs to be changed. And But I think the best thing about the Floorcrete was that Dawn recognised it, and Dawn was the CEO.
Yes.
She understood that it was going to have a massive effect on the business. It was going to help develop her business and to move it on to the next level. And she actually promoted it. And if there were any issues with any personnel, she'd be the first ones to go out and iron out any creases. You know, and that's what it needs sometimes, because sometimes, you know, you can implement change, but it does actually take quite a while for some of those improvements and the benefits to start being realised.
Yes. So if there's one final piece of advice, John, that you'd give business owners who are struggling to deal with the effects of the recession, what would it be?
For me, the most important things are to understand what it is you want your business to be and where you want your business to go. If you can sit down and come up with an initial business plan, listen to your customers, understand what it is that those customers want from your business, put some planning in place, and once you understand the roadmap you want your business to follow, involve and empower your employees and help them to understand that they have a position within the business that they can help you develop your business and move it on to the next level.
John Woodruffe, thank you for joining us.
Thanks very much indeed.